Hey YouTube, well, it's February 2nd, 2015, and I'm just a little disappointed by the Super Bowl last night because I was definitely thinking that Seattle was going to win another Super Bowl 2 years in a row, but unfortunately we made a mistake in the last few minutes of the Super Bowl, and I'm going to go over a little history of these Super Bowls because there's been 49 now. Now, in 1967, it was the Green Bay Packers who won the first two Super Bowls ever. Then, I'm going to tell you which teams I like because, but I'm going to go over these. 2 wins by the Packers, then next the New York Jets. I don't hate them. Kansas City Chiefs are okay. The Baltimore Colts now are now the Indianapolis Colts. Dallas Cowboys, that was Super Bowl 6. I don't like them. I don't like their quarterback Tony Romo. Miami Dolphins won 2 years in a row. Pittsburgh Steelers won 2 years in a row. Then the Oakland Raiders. Now we're over Super Bowl 10. We're on 12 now. The Dallas Cowboys again. Pittsburgh Steelers the year after. Looks like Pittsburgh Steelers won again. Then the Oakland Raiders. San Francisco 49ers. And I think that was back when they had... That must have been back when they had Joe Montana, who is one of my favorite quarterbacks of all time, who I still think will surpass any other teams that's out there because he was one of the greatest quarterbacks who has ever lived. He never threw an interception in a Super Bowl, in 4 Super Bowls. He played, then the Washington Redskins. I don't like them so much. And I'm going to get to this in a minute. I don't like the Raiders too much, but that was the Los Angeles Raiders before they became the Oakland Raiders. San Francisco 49ers, like them much better when they had Joe Montana. Chicago Bears, don't care for them too much. New York Giants, I like Eli Manning. Washington Redskins, yeah, not a big fan. San Francisco 49ers again. San Francisco 49ers the year later, where Joe Montana was still in there. It was playing the Denver Broncos, which I never used to like too much because I never liked Jake Plummer. Jake Plummer, I heard, was a terrible quarterback. New York Giants. Washington Redskins the next year. Dallas Cowboys. San Francisco 49ers. Dallas Cowboys. Green Bay Packers. Denver Broncos. Yeah. St. Louis Rams. I mean, I like John Elway. Baltimore Ravens. New England Patriots. Okay, this is what really gets me going. I can do without the New England Patriots. I do not like Tom Brady. Then you got Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Then you got the New England Patriots. When I wanted the Eagles to stomp the Patriots. And they only won by 3 points that year. Oh boy. Then the next year, the Pittsburgh Steelers won. I can do without them because I don't like the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I'll get to that in a minute. The year later, the Indianapolis Colts. Okay, I'm going to be honest. Peyton Manning was that close to losing, and I'll tell you why in a few minutes. He was close to losing going to the Super Bowl, but I'll get to that in a minute. And actually, Peyton Manning is my favorite quarterback in the NFL. Just a little bit above Russell Wilson, but I'll get to that in a minute. Then you got the Pittsburgh Steelers who beat the Cardinals. I don't like the Pittsburgh Steelers at all. Then the New Orleans Saints beat the Indianapolis Colts, which I was kind of dismayed by because I'm a big fan of Peyton Manning. Then, oh wait, did I skip one? Oh yeah, the New York Giants did beat the New England Patriots, which I was pleased by because a year after the Indianapolis Colts won, Peyton's little brother Eli Manning won. Then Super Bowl. And a Super Bowl. Super Bowl 45, the Green Bay Packers beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, which I'm really pleased about because I don't like the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then, the year later, the the New York Giants beat the New England Patriots again. The first game they won 17-14, then the next game they won 21-17. Then Baltimore Ravens beat the San Francisco 49ers, which I wanted the San Francisco 49ers to win because I used to be a really huge fan of Joe Montana. Excuse me. But I'm not a big fan of Colin Kaepernick. They need to get rid of him. He's a little crybaby. When he lost to the Seahawks, Richard Sherman was the one who deflected the ball and tried to say, hell of a game to Colin Kaepernick, or no, to Michael Crabtree, and hold out his hand and he pushed him in the face mask like that. And Kaepernick, being the little crybaby he is, said we should have won that game. Well, guess what? You win, you win. You need to accept the fact that you lose. I'm just so disappointed by this, though, and I'll tell you in a minute. Then the year later, the Seattle Seahawks beat the Denver Broncos 43-8. That was a little sad because I felt bad for Peyton Manning. I love Peyton Manning. I just love him. He's a great quarterback. And everyone talks trash about him for some kind of reason. And we lost yesterday 28-24 just because Russell Wilson threw an interception. I'm going to tell you how it went first. The Seattle Seahawks were so close to winning that Super Bowl. Listen to this. So, Patriots score 14, Seahawks score 14, Patriots score 0, first it's 0-0, then 14-14, then it's 24-14, but then, hold on, then the Patriots lost, got 2 more points, but then Russell Wilson was so close. He should have run that ball instead of, passing it. He should have run it and had blockers, and then he could have scored a touchdown and had the Seahawks win, but he threw an interception. And then the Seahawks and the Patriots got physical and started punching each other. I don't know what the hell that was about. It was unnecessary roughness according to the ref. There was one more thing I wanted to show you. I know Manning's a Denver Bronco, but I got this the year after he won Super Bowl 41. Manning is a great quarterback. Peyton is one of my favorite quarterbacks of all time. He's like in my top 5. When they say he may retire in the next few years, and when that happens, Russell Wilson will take my favorite quarterback. We need him. Okay, but I'm going to go over the teams I don't like. I don't think much of Buffalo. Miami, I don't think much of. New England, I just don't like. I do not like New England. Tom Brady's won 4 Super Bowls, and that's enough for me to last. I do not like Tom Brady, and it took him 10 years to win a Super Bowl. He's been to 6, and he's only won 4. Excuse me. And when he had the perfect season, he never made it. When he had the perfect season, he lost. New York Jets. I don't think much of. I don't hate them. Baltimore Ravens, which used to be the Colts, I don't know. Cincinnati Bengals, I don't think much of them. Cleveland Browns, don't think much of them. Pittsburgh Steelers, I hate them. I've hated them ever since the Super Bowl 40, where they cheated and the refs let them get away with it. And Ben Roethlisberger, a lot of people hate him now, and he's 32 years old. He's still got some years ahead of him. Houston Texans, there's one player I don't like for them, and that's DJ Swearinger. Apparently, Peyton Manning said "fuck you" to him or something, or taunted him. I have to check this out. Alright. Hold up. They beat the Denver Broncos by 1 point after Peyton Manning threw a touchdown. They only won 9 games that year, 9-7 sometimes, Indianapolis, I don't hate them. I just preferred them when they had Peyton Manning. Jacksonville Jaguars, don't like them too much. Tennessee Titans, they're okay. I think Peyton Manning was actually considering I heard that after he's done playing football, he may become a coach for Tennessee Titans. And he used to play for the Tennessee Volts, and then became a Colt, and now he's a Denver Bronco. Actually, I heard Russell Wilson was offered to be a Denver Bronco at one point, but then he became a Seahawk, and he met Peyton Manning, and they trained together in a camp, and he realized that he knew Peyton Manning, and after Peyton Manning lost the Super Bowl, he went right up to Russell Wilson and said, "Congratulations." He went, "Congratulations, Russell," and they shook hands. Yeah, Peyton Manning's a really good guy. I love Peyton Manning and Russell Wilson. They're my 2 favorite quarterbacks in the NFL. My least is Ben Roethlisberger. I don't like Tom Brady. I don't like either one of them. I was so sure the Seahawks were going to win in the end because they were that close to the end zone. They should have just ran the ball instead of throwing it, because that's what intercepted it. Denver Broncos like them. Like Peyton Manning too. He was offered to the Seahawks for a little bit. Kansas City Chiefs, don't like him that much. Oakland Raiders, don't like him that much. San Diego Chargers, I could care less about them. Not a big fan. Dallas Cowboys, I don't like them. New York Giants, I like Eli Manning, but for the past few years, I think he's been having a little bit of trouble, like 7-9, 9-7, 9-7. Yeah. 6-10 this year. At first, I think. Let me take a look. They lost to the Seahawks. Let me see. First, they were winning 17-14, but then the Seahawks scored 3, which put them at a tie. Then the Seahawks scored 21. Okay. Then Philadelphia Eagles, I like that. I don't have a problem with them. Washington Redskins, I don't like so much, and they punched Richard Sherman in the face, which wasn't good. Chicago Bears, don't like them. Detroit Lions, they're okay. I mean, I'm not a big fan, but I wish they would have beaten the Cowboys. Any team, but the Steelers is better than the Cowboys and Patriots. Cowboys, Patriots. I don't like the Cowboys. I don't like the Patriots. And I don't like the Steelers. All three of those teams are my least favorite. I don't like... Green Bay's okay. I mean, I was happy we beat them. We got so lucky at that one because first the Packers were winning 16-0, and then we scored 7, then we scored 15, and then we scored 6. We tied it up to go 22-22. Then we scored 6 because Russell Wilson threw a tremendous touchdown. You know what? Making it to the Super Bowl, that's why I'm happy the Seahawks made it to the Super Bowl. But I wish they would have won because they deserved it. Minnesota Vikings. You know, I used to like this quarterback big time. What's his name? Matt Castle. He used to be a really good player. I don't know what's happening now because he did pretty good when he was with the Patriots. He had to take over for Tom Brady because Tom Brady got his knee smashed in his torn ACL one year. Then the Atlanta Falcons, they're okay. I don't like them that much. Carolina Panthers, they're alright. Excuse me. New Orleans Saints, I'm not a big fan of them. There was one guy who said wow about Seattle beating the Saints because it was a year after the Saints had gone to the stupid Super Bowl. It was back in 2011, I think. I was so disappointed by the Saints winning that Super Bowl. But then one guy said, there's only one thing I can say about Seattle, and that's wow. And he said the ass kissers and the Super Bowl hangover people or the Super Bowl lovers of that or something about that. Minnesota, Vikings, Carolina, New Orleans, Tampa Bay. Okay, New Orleans Saints. Tampa Bay I don't like that much. The Arizona Cardinals are okay. The Arizona Cardinals had a great season at first. Yeah, they had 3 wins, then a loss, then a win, loss, win, loss. They lost in the end because I heard their best player got injured. But you're going to have a good year or a bad year. St. Louis Rams I don't like that much. Oh, yeah. Here's an interesting story. So I'm at work and I said, you got to change that to the Seattle Seahawks. And they said, we didn't lose to the Rams. Here's something. We beat the San Francisco 49ers twice. And guess who we didn't lose to? The Oakland Raiders. We lost to the Rams once by 2 points just because of a fucking fluke. Thanks to the dumbass ref. Then we won 20-6. Then guess what? Saying they didn't lose to the Rams. October 13th they beat the Rams, but then they lost to the Rams in return. But then the San Francisco 49ers lost to the Rams. And they didn't make it this year because they went 8-8. And really, they need to get rid of Kaepernick. He just pisses me off. He's annoying. Colin Kaepernick's annoying. My brother-in-law is a huge 49ers fan, and he doesn't like Kaepernick either. Because he was born in California, so that's his home team. I mean, I think he said he doesn't hate Seattle because he lives here, but yeah, New York, they lost to the Seattle Seahawks 17-7. Then the first game they lost against the Seattle Seahawks was 19-3. I mean, and then they lost to the Oakland Raiders. 24-13. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. The Oakland Raiders almost did beat the Seahawks. But the Seahawks stepped it up in the end. Where are they? Where are the Seahawks on this list? Sorry this video is dragging on forever. It was 30-24. But here's what really picked it up. The Raiders, 2 additionals. Oh, they beat them in the preseason. But that doesn't really matter. So here's what the Seahawks did. 14-3. Then the Seahawks score 10, which gives them 24. Then the Raiders score 14. Then we score 6, and they score 7. But we won in the end. So, you know, you almost lose, but a win's a win. That's all I can say about it, you know? But yeah, I'm not a big Rams fan. San Francisco 49ers, I used to like really back in the day. But this year, but now with Kaepernick and Crabtree, just a bunch of crybabies when they lose. And the Super Bowl that just happened was just a disappointment. I mean, and there are so many teams that have never made it. The Cleveland Browns, the Detroit Lions, Jacksonville Jaguars, Houston Texans, they've never made it to the Super Bowl. Tennessee Titans have, and they've lost it. The Seahawks have made 3 appearances now, and they won 1 at least. The Pittsburgh Steelers are the ones that's won the most. They've won 6 Super Bowls and lost 2. The Patriots have made 8 Super Bowl appearances, and they've won 4 and lost 4. And the only 4 they won is when that douchebag Tom Brady's in. I have freedom of speech. I can say my opinion. I just don't like Tom Brady. I mean, I'm not trying to be rude. You know, if you've seen that episode with Family Guy, he was pretty funny in that episode. I just don't like him. I prefer Peyton Manning, and he's the Denver Broncos have made 5 Super Bowl appearances, and they've only won, or have made 7 Super Bowl appearances, and they've only won 2, and that was when John Elway played for them. And the Colts, there's one Super Bowl I'm going to go in after this. The Colts. Where are the Colts? I think that the first Super Bowl they ever went with when they were in the Indianapolis Colts was the one when Peyton Manning was playing. That was the first time they ever went to the Super Bowl. But I'm going to get to this in a minute. Okay. So this year, the year, I said I was going to get to this in a minute. It took me a while to get here. So that year that Peyton Manning went to the Super Bowl, he had a few rocky games, a few speed bumps, so he beat the New York Giants, he beat the Houston Texans, he beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, he beat the New York Jets, and the Tennessee Titans. That's 5 straight wins. Then they had a week off, then they beat the Redskins, then they beat the Denver Broncos, then they beat the New England Patriots, then they beat the Buffalo Bills, then they lost to the Dallas Cowboys, then they beat the Philadelphia Eagles, then they beat the Tennessee Titans, then they No. Let me start that over. So they had 5 straight wins up to 10. So they beat the New York Giants, Houston Texans, Jacksonville Jaguars, New York Jets, the Tennessee Titans. Then they had a week off. Then they lost to then they beat the Washington Redskins, beat the Denver Broncos. Then they beat the New England Patriots. Then they beat the Buffalo Bills. Then they lost to the Dallas Cowboys. Beat the Philadelphia Eagles, lost to the Tennessee Titans, lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars, beat the Cincinnati Bengals, lost to the Houston Texans, and then beat the Miami Dolphins. But what went on with that was, I heard the Dolphins were kind of tough at first. Let me go see. But then the Colts were standing up. They stood up and faced them. Because first it was 6-0, then the Colts scored 17, then the other team, Dolphins scored 6, then the Colts scored 3, and Dolphins scored 10, and the Colts scored 7. Now this is something I want to go over because the Chiefs were no challenge for the Colts. Colts win 23-8. Baltimore Ravens lose 15-6. But the Patriots were the toughest. They almost lost, and this is why Peyton Manning was that close to getting to the Super Bowl that year. And I'm gonna say why. Excuse me. Patriots score 7. Colts score 3. Colts score 3 again. Patriots score 14. Then the Patriots score 7. Colts score 15. Colts score 17. Patriots score 34. Excuse me. But then they were losing to the Chicago Bears 14-6, but then they scored 10, which made it 16-14, and then they scored 6, and then the Bears scored 3, and then the Colts scored 7, and then the Bears scored 0, so it was 29-17. But that's all I have to say. Oh yeah, the way that we made it to, that the Colts made it to the championship that year was the cornerback Martin Jackson intercepted the ball when Tom Brady had less than 20 seconds, and he quickly dropped to the ground so he wouldn't risk a fumble, and Jackson sealed the win for the Colts to make it there. Yeah. Well, thank you all for watching. I'm going to go over a little bit of history of Peyton Manning in a little bit in a later video. Alright, thank you. Alright, bye. Peace.